Beautiful. Welcome, everybody. It's so nice to see you after a little bit of a hiatus. I hope that you all had a wonderful Pesach and a couple of last beautiful couple of few weeks. It's so nice to have you with back. I wanted just to give you a quick just synopsis if we remember what we're doing. This is really at the beginning of Shaul's reign, and we are learning. We're getting a bit of picture of the climate in Israel in that time, and that there's conflict between the Plishtim, the Philistines, and the Israelites. And Bnei Israel. So there is this ongoing conflict in various areas. And we learned in the last two chapters that Shaul was not following exactly the order that Shmuel gave him, and that there was a disconnect between the two. And Shmuel already warned Shaul that because of his misdoing, that the kingship will not continue through Shaul's lineage. In other words, that Shaul lost the kingdom, so to speak, it will not be passing through his lineage, and we will see that translate later on. But chapter 13, which we last read, ends off with that now the Philistines had marched to Michmas. They are right now amassing in this place called Michmash, and this is where chapter 14 is doing. So in other words, this is going to be a response to what is happening in terms of the Philistines. Vayomer Hayom, Vayhi Hayom, one day, Vayomer Yonatan ben Shaul el Hanar Nosech. So as it just not just one day that happens to be in this conflict that has been brewing. One day, the Yonatan, the son of Shaul, says the following to the bearer of his arms. So the nobility, I don't know if you know, by the way, this is when I visited France a year and a half ago or so. I stayed, or 2 years ago, I stayed right near the tomb of Napoleon. If you've ever been there, this is Les Invalides, I believe is called the area. And I walked in through one of these museums, that war museums, and it was amazing to see all the arms and armor and swords and early guns that were made from the 1400s and 1500s. But what most intrigued me was the art, and the artistry in the armor. It was unbelievable. If we think, like weaving is amazing. The amount of detailed work in this armor was amazing. But as I'm reading it, I noticed that not armor was not given to anybody. You had to actually purchase it. So, in other words, soldiers went out to war. If they could not afford armor, they would not get it. They wouldn't have it. If you were a person of means and you wanted to protect yourself, then you got yourself armor. And again, whatever your means was, then it all dictated what type of armament you were able to afford. So some afforded, and obviously for the nobility, the kings and princes, they got whatever they wanted. And their items, it was unbelievable in terms of the quality of workmanship is unbelievable. And that translates into their fashion, the way that they now, how they have haute couture and all that stuff. That was haute couture, and then it was unbelievable. Two, three, four colors with with these patterns that go throughout on rounded shoulders and this and lions, and it was amazing. And maybe one day I'll download them and I'll share. But I'm saying this is because the nobility had arm bearers. In other words, they had usually it was a teenager or right before a teenager, and sometimes, by the way, it would be also somebody who was important, who would kind of be shadow the nobility. Why? Because the nobles knew how to carry most of them how to carry a sword. In other words, they had teachers, they had instructions. They were not just raw, strong fighters. They were very, very capable fighters. So usually they would be shadowed by somebody who was of means or somebody who is important, somebody to learn. And this is, by the way, with David, later on you'll see this, where he sends some of his children to follow some of the generals, etc., to learn from them how to carry themselves, how to comport themselves, the techniques, etc. But in any event, Jonathan, who is obviously of means, he's the prince, he's the son of Shaul, he has somebody who carries his armaments for him. So if he needs extra arrows, he doesn't always have to carry them on his back or an extra hand. He has somebody carrying extra armaments for him. Why? Because he's a person of means and he has basically, I don't want to say not necessarily a servant, but he has somebody who is assisting him. Okay, so one day, Jonathan turns around to his bearer and tells him, Lecha v'nabra el matzav plishtim. Let us cross over into where the Philistines are gathering, into the garrison of the Philistines. Asher me'ever halaz, on the other side. Ul aviv lo yigid. However, he did not tell his father, Shaul, he did not tell him of his plan. V'Shaul yoshev b'ktzeh giv'ah. Shaul was on the other side of the hill, okay? Tachat harimon asher b'migron, under the pomegranate tree that was in the section of that field which was called Migron. Ve'am asher imo kesheshmot ish, and he had roughly 600 men with him. So in other words, he was a little bit on a different part of that same encampment. In other words, he's not going to know what Jonathan is about to do. Ve'Achia ben Achituv, and Achia, the son of Achituv. Now, who is this person? We're going to give you the lineage of who this person is. Achi Ichavod, he is the brother of Ichavod, ben Pinchas, the son of Pinchas, ben Eli, the son of Eli, Kohen Adonai Beshilo, Nose Ephod. Who is he? So in other words, he is the great grandson of Eli. Do you remember Eli with? Do you remember Eli with Shmuel? So this is the great grandson of Eli, and he's wearing the ephod. He's bears. In other words, he's the Kohen Gadol. Veham lo yada ki alach Yonatan. However, the nation, nobody knew. This was a secret mission that Yonatan decided to choose on his own. Nobody had any idea that Yonatan had left. Uvein hamabarot asher bikesh Yonatan lavor al matzav plishtim. And at the crossing by which Jonathan decided to navigate through to reach the Philistines' garrison, Shen hasela meha ever mizeh, v'shen hasela meha ever mizeh. Now we're giving you kind of an idea of where they're encamped. On one side, there is this rocky protrusion, and likewise on the other side, there is a rocky protrusion. So in other words, they are wedged in some kind of valley with overlooking two crags, rocky crags. Okay? V'shem ha'echad botzetz, v'shem ha'echad sene. So, and the names of these two rock outcrops is botzetz, and the next one is called Sena. So they're giving you a little bit of a geographical location of where this is taking place. And soon we're going to realize why these crags are important. Hashen ha'echad matzuk mitzafon mul michmash. One of these crags, one of these outcrops of these rocks, was located on the north